how dissociation works with you. How can you tell? Get your checklist, because it's going to be very specific for each of you. For some people, they actually feel like they literally leave the room, that they go somewhere else. They don't know where, but they're just completely numb. They're phased out. They're not with it at all. Hello everybody, I'm Catriona Morten. I'm a sensory motor psychotherapist, and today I'd like to talk to you about dissociation. But before I jump into that, if you're enjoying these videos, please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, because it helps us get a message out there to loads more people. The vast majority of my clients don't actually recognise when they're dissociated. When they come in to see me, or if they're there in a Zoom call, then I can always spot it in their eyes, because their eyes just feel like they're stepped back a little bit. And when I say to them, how do you feel? Do you feel present? Yeah. When you take a closer look at that, it's like, do things really seem bright? And do you really feel connected to things? Are you looking at them and seeing them? No, not really. No, actually. How do I seem? Do I seem really bright and clear and present to you? No, actually, no, not really. And then they start to notice all the other things. You got any connection to your body? Can you work any muscles? No. Can you move your feet? Sometimes the answer is yes, but they can't really feel it. They know that they're moving, but they can't really feel it. For others, things are blurry, dull, distorted. For some people, they're just numb, or they'll feel really freezing cold and very still. But because they're so used to it, often until it gets really, really bad, when they actually can't see anything, they can't hear anything, they can't feel anything, they're completely unaware of what's going on, they're going to lose great big chunks of time in the day. They won't want to go and do anything. Everything just feels weird and off. Then they often don't recognise it because they're so used to it. Because it's a function that we all have, and we can do it in varying degrees. You know, driving along and the way you're going, I don't have to put all my effort into being present for this. I can think about other things and actually still do these things. It's an amazing ability we have. If our life is really overwhelming, fearful, painful, then it's something that we're going to really employ. And it's not a conscious thing, it's just something that we're able to do. We can disengage from what's happening and just be completely numb, cut off to it in varying degrees, and be really unaware. So things don't feel overwhelming, they don't hurt, we're not aware of them. We just disconnect from our body and from everything that's going on. For some people, they actually feel like they literally leave the room, that they go somewhere else. They don't know where, but they're just completely numb. They're phased out. They're not with it at all. And when you're speaking to them, it's like, okay, can you actually hear me? Can you see me? No response. You know, that's to quite a severe extent. But if you've had to do that because life is just too frightening or painful, then that's what you're going to do. Unfortunately, because we can do it, and if we've had to do it because things are overwhelming, then that registers as a trauma, and it's going to have triggers attached to it. And the problem with that is just going about in everyday life, those people can be triggered. Things can trigger them, sounds, smells, movement, all kinds of things. And they're dissociated, but they're completely unaware that they've dissociated. When a trigger like that gets set off, the level of dissociation, the dysregulation, it can last ages. It can last an hour, it can last a day, it can last a week. I've seen people, they'll tell me something happened to them at the beginning of the week, last weekend. I can still see it, I can still sense it. But for them, it's very second nature. You know, a lot of therapists will say, make sure that you do not trigger and dissociate your clients. Well, yes, But sometimes it happens because we can't all know. You know, I hear this a lot. Learn your triggers. Well, if you've got 150 triggers, you don't know what it is that set you off a lot of the time. Sometimes, yes, it's obvious. But then that means you're going to spend your life avoiding these things. It's way better to know how dissociation works with you. How can you tell? Get your checklist, because it's going to be very specific for each of you. I know what happens to me when I get dissociated, but that's really different for other people. So it's important because therapists can see it, can sense it, can ask the right questions, you know, about how are you breathing? Can you actually feel anything in your core? Can you work any of your muscles? Can you move? You know, all of those things. And they're very revealing. And we can do that checklist in a therapy session. Okay, so here are the signs that you're dissociated. Make a list. Because the other thing with being dissociated is you're offline. You can't think. You can't work things out. You might have that functional part that I talk about a lot, going through the motions, but it gets very easily confused. You know, I know where I'm going, but I've just gone the wrong way, or it all looks really unfamiliar. Have I gone the right way? Am I on the right bus? Am I on the right road? It can be very difficult because we're offline. But if we don't recognize and know that we're offline, because when we're triggered, then our brain operates in a completely different way, and our thinking, prefrontal cortex, it's not there. You don't have the same access to it. It's just not working. And so you might be going through the motions, but it's a pretty precarious place. Make a list. Have a checklist. Am I dissociated? Am I dysregulated? And go through your checklist. And if the answer to the first 3 or the first 4 is yes, okay. And again, this is what we do in therapy sessions. It's like, well, okay, so what helps? Because, you know, for some people, putting hands on the chest, on the breathing, and putting some chi energy there can be really helpful for getting the breath back. For other people that have had any kind of overwhelm to do with breathing, then it can just bring up that sense of panic of, oh my God, I'm not breathing properly, or what, my breath stops, and it can get tighter. Okay, stay away. Let's see what it's like if we just go down to the feet. You know, go through all the things that potentially can work. If your body's gone numb, does it help to rub it and squeeze it and pat it? Can you feel that? Is it starting to bring you back a little bit? Or we might need to work with just getting some energy flowing a little bit, you know, drawing out figure of 8s in front of us if we're able to move our arms, getting our energy moving. Then we can get some access to our muscles to get that sense of control, because it can be quite disconcerting for a lot of people. It's like, you know, suddenly the body and the nervous system's been taken over. I feel completely out of control and I don't know what to do because I'm offline. And that sense of panic will make it worse and worse and worse. So 1, know what works for you. Again, make a checklist. Have it in your phone, have it on your fridge of things that you can try, things that you do that you know that your body and your nervous system respond to. Because for some people, like I say, some things are really good, and for some people those things, it's very same things, do not work. They make things worse. So know what works for you. And when we get our anxiety levels up, our stress levels up, our dysregulation up a little bit, not enough to take us offline in therapy session, then we're able to see all the things that are going on. And that gives us a big clue about, okay, well, what might be needed to bring it down. We can also get dissociated and triggered into a completely different part of ourselves. I've known some clients that when you say to them, okay, well, you know, can you move your hands? Can you look at your hands as you see them moving? And some of them go, oh my God, they don't look like my hands. Or, oh, these look huge. If things look huge, for some people, they'll look at their dog and go, the dog looks huge. It's like, okay, well, you just got triggered into a younger, smaller part. And so you know that you've got to be able to do things to get your regulation sorted. Because that in the body, your nervous system is sending a message to your brain, or something, the information that you've taken in has triggered that part of your amygdala, and woof, you're back in time, and an old trauma is being relived and resurfaced. So you've got to be able to work with your body, because this is where your nervous system is. Calm that, this comes back online, you can start to function. So just to know that dissociation is different for everyone. And for a lot of people, they don't actually know they're dissociated. I know by the clients that I work with, I can tell in a nanosecond, one, if they're starting to dissociate, or if they arrive and they're in a dissociated state. And also, my nervous system picks it up. If someone is a couple of steps back, they're not quite present, but they're still talking and functioning, I can feel that lack of connection. And I trust my nervous system because it picks up, we're herd creatures. We pick up what's going on in somebody else's nervous system and what their levels of dysregulation are. And the more we know about our own body, the more we can pick it up in other people. Not as, we have to do something about it, but just that level of awareness for ourselves. And it's an invaluable thing. The more we know about ourselves, the easier it is to get control over things, to have some understanding, to not panic, to know what to do in order to help. All of these things are really valuable in everyday life. So I hope that's been informative, helpful, interesting. If it has, then give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Okay, bye.